There's a Lear thing. It's rotating. Oh, got it! Woohoo!
What was in the skies over and why did it downwards treasured sites in Christianity?
There's a new evidence that proves we're not alone in the universe. UFO, form of bright light descending over the dome of the rock of Jerusalem.
Alright. Ooh, welcome to GUFON, everybody. And everything is still messed up. Hold on. We can't have a show like this. Hold on. Holy mackerel. I didn't know that happened. Oh, and this one too? Oh my God. It's all coming apart at the seams, literally. There we go. All right. Welcome to GUFON, everybody. I'm your host, Richard Jordan. Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. How the hell are ya? Me, not so good. Bob Lazar tapes. Yes. Ah, yes. Time for Bob Lazar tapes. The lost tapes of Bob Lazar. If you haven't seen, if you haven't heard, you're in for a treat. We're going to have a good time tonight. Let me turn this up a little bit so I could hear myself think. COVID. Boy, I look pink. Why do I look pink? We're not going to go through this again, are we? Here we go. All right. That's all we're doing tonight. That's it. By the way, we are live on Twitter as well. So if you guys want to listen to the show on Twitter, be my guest. But let's do a little roll call and get this shindig going. And we'll be in and out of here before you could say La Bazaar. Ready? Hope you guys are good. What is today? It's Tuesday, right? Usually good things come out on a Tuesday. And it did. Let's do it. Ready? Set? Scott, welcome to the show. Space and Jason 9 Instagram 4. Welcome to the show. Member Dorothy Hawkins, welcome to the show. Member Pete. Pete. Yes, I did. I don't understand why I look so pink. I don't look pink, when I'm in the mirror. I look tan. I guess I got a little red. I don't know. Good job, Pete. Claudia Velez, The Walking Dead, welcome to the show. Eric81872, welcome to the show. Felicia Flores, welcome to the show. That was a weird one. Coral Ann, welcome to the show. Member Denbob, welcome to the show. John P. Adventures, welcome to the show. Lisa M. You're going to be Lisa Mysterioso. Yeah, you're the Mysterioso one. Welcome to the show. Red Panda. Call the rolls. Welcome to the show. Red Panda, my other half. I don't even know where that came from. I don't know how that ever happened, and I'm sorry. Member Brian Kegler. How you doing, man? Mark D. Truth Searcher. welcome to the show. Catherine Deere, welcome to the show. Member Rebecca Wiles, welcome to the show. Tic Tac Toe, welcome to the show. Ramses, welcome to the show. Crystal Sarasale, welcome to the show. Member the Gorilla Gamer, welcome to the show. Member Tim Freestone, welcome to the show. Let's get going. Now we're done, right? Big Fat Creep, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Andy Cowley, welcome to the show. Bex, welcome to the show. Zach Diecast Montu, didn't come out. Montu, welcome to the show. Foghorn Leghorn. Isn't that how he says? How does he sound like this? What is his catchphrase? I don't know. Who cares, right? Welcome to the show, Foghorn. World in Chaos 76, welcome to the show. Wild Ascension, welcome to the show. And, whoa. It's Taco Tuesday. Anybody seen Richie? You know what? Nobody's seen Richie. That's the whole thing. That's the problem. Nobody's seen Richie. Ooh, we're almost there. It's almost time. Hey, if I didn't say hi, don't mean I don't like you. It's just, we got to do the show. Bex! I just wanted to say it one more time. So, apparently, Michael Schratt had these tapes in his possession. Well, you know what? For 32 years. I'm not going to ruin the story. I'm just going to go right into it. Because Third Phase of Moon got the tapes from Michael Schratt with full authorization to play them, showcase them. And this is only the first installment. There will be more coming out tomorrow. I think a 30-minute segment of these tapes. And then another segment will come out after that, maybe another 10 or 15 minutes. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I may only do an hour show tonight. I may do an hour only. But if things feel good and I feel all right, then I think I had a little too much sun today. Look at me. I'm pink, for Christ's sakes. I'm pink. You understand? I do. All right. Hold on a second. Hold on. Somebody gave me an idea, and I don't think it's right if I don't do it, because it's been a while, but I believe, I do declare that there are certain things that aren't being heard. Ready? Ready? I don't want it to go. But
anybody seen Richie? Huh? I'm gonna keep coming back until somebody remembers seeing Richie.
how did he not see me? That's for you, Wild Ascension, and everybody else who's been asking for it. COVID. So I was thinking maybe we can have a discussion about this. I was thinking maybe we can do, but I'm just going to get right into it because it's a long story. But hey, tonight's show is the Bob Lazar tapes, and I'm going to start off right now in 5. Don't forget, you can help support. We are a supported show, donation supported show. So, all that other shit. All the links are in the description. You know what to do. Bob Lazar tapes. Whoa, I didn't mean to make everything shake.
Sir.
I appreciate it. What an amazing experience we're going to be having. Let's get to it. Let's get to this interview. Have a seat.
Good. All right.
So I'm glad we got to meet up with you, Michael. And you're telling me the other day that you've had a box that was given to you after John Andrews passed, and his wife gave you his archives of his Bob Lazar interview. And right now we're going to be going over some of the audio tapes, but what amazes me is, who is this John Andrews? What was his purpose for meeting up with Bob Lazar in the first place?
Good question. John Andrews is kind of an unsung hero within the plastic model industry. He was the senior project design engineer for Testers Model Corporation based out of Rockford. His office was in San Diego, California. And the backstory is they wanted to do a plastic model kit of the Lazar S4 Sport model. So John Andrews interviewed Bob Lazar, got the technical details, incorporated those details into the plastic model, which became the S4 Sport model, and that's the background.
So before we get to the audio tapes, again, what was John Andrews' motivation? He really believed the Bob Lazar story, and he's looking for smoking gun proof and thinking that he could actually build?
It's a very good question. Yes, he did believe the story, and he wanted to put this in a model form for educational purposes for the youth. And he always felt that building models educates people and gets them motivated. So that was his motivation, and he felt there was enough evidence to support the existence of putting it into a model form. Correct.
So we're going to be listening to these incredible historical tapes that you've received, but actually, Michael, how did you come in possession of these materials?
Good question. I had met John Andrews in person in San Diego back around 1998, just before he passed away, and kind of developed a friendship with John. He later passed away. His wife, Darlene, contacted me later, and she said, "Mike, I've got 7 boxes waiting for you." And it was just an inspirational moment, highlight of my life. Drove to San Diego, picked up the boxes, and maintained an important part of our national history by keeping that within the historical archives. And within those 7 boxes were drawings, notes, audio tape interviews that have never been heard before. And that's what you have now. So that's where we're moving to. Yep.
So what was John Andrews' impressions of Bob Lazar?
I get the impression after looking at the documents that John was skeptical, but he was open-minded. He wanted further evidence to support the claim, and that's why he sent out FOIA requests to actually visit alleged S4 facility to get some more historical background. So I think he was open-minded, but there was enough there to build a plastic model.
You know, again, these tapes are so amazing, and John Andrews' motivation behind getting to Bob Lazar, asking these questions, and now finally the world's hearing it for the first time. Let's listen more to the incredible tapes revealed by Michael Schratt, the Bob Lazar interview.
Yeah, more or less. You can tell it must have puddled there because there's tracks that have mudded up in a few places.
What about inside the bag? Is it just rough concrete work? Or?
No, it's the entire slab is large piece of concrete, and it's I can put a gloss or lacquer coat on it. But it's concrete, but they put some kind of coating on it. Yeah, but very, very shiny. Also, probably slippery too.
Is there a lot of painted marks on the floor? Like, red lines or places like walk?
No, I saw it. It was yellow tape. But I don't know. That's the only thing I remember noticing.
Was there any rules about rings, watches? You had to remove things before you went into these areas, or?
Well, you removed those before you went into the installation.
So you give your badge then? You exchange a badge that you
No,
carry
well,
all the time?
No. Well, to get in, you get a badge. To get in.
But you didn't have a badge when you first get there?
No.
And exchange it like for a white one, for a yellow one, for a red one?
No.
You got on the airplane, you went there, you went to
you
the
get on with an
installation,
escort,
and then you got your badge at the installation.
right at S4, not at ground.
And you give them like one of those little green U.S. government ID cards with your picture on it or something like the military.
Didn't get a film dose badge either, nothing.
How'd you get on board the airplane? Escort all the time?
On board the plane at
The EG&G?
yeah, Dennis was always waiting there for me.
Okay.
So there were no dose badges. There wasn't any beer evidently or anything.
Not that I saw on anybody.
That's really interesting. It tells you something about the material. You know, I mean, you've dealt with it. God, you dealt with all that crap.
I mean, on Los Alamos, you know,
Mark II.
and places where there was no
That's
radioactive material at all. You had a dose
Worked
badge
in
on
regular-
anyway.
Yeah, my son-in-law is a nuclear power plants officer aboard the Nimitz. And he says, oh, yeah, badges all the time. They're tested all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody's got them.
Everywhere. But no, none for that area.
She's got to say something about the safety of the material. And there's no
disregard for human life.
One or the other, yeah.
yeah, perhaps that. No, I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
When you got the job or whatever, were you given any kind of like an outline of what has to happen by a certain date, or was it just go as you have to, or get it done as it goes, or?
It was strange. There was really no, goals set.
Were there any like morning briefings, afternoon briefings, or?
No, I wasn't to that stage yet. I was more of a casual employee. There was no set job for me to perform yet.
So here we are listening to Bob Lazar years ago, 32 years. This is 1990, I believe, that these were made. And the interview was done. This has never been heard before up until last night. Michael Schratt of Blue Room Media on YouTube has been holding on to these, and the only reason you're hearing these now and not last year or 10 years ago or even 29 years ago is because he wanted to display them properly and give them the respect that they deserve. And Michael Schratt, became friends with ThirdPhaseOfMoon, and one day he came out and said, I've got a surprise for you. I think you're going to enjoy this. And heck, I knew about these tapes 3 months ago. I had to forget about it. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Now, of course, I can't play everything here tonight, but I'm going to play a couple more clips and go over things. But I find some of this, Bob Lazar sounds like he's telling the truth. I mean, his demeanor, his voice, the influxes, everything, it's hard when you can't see him. But he does sound very truthful. Again, Bob Lazar always sounds truthful. And his story hasn't changed over the years. And it's not, I don't know if you want to believe him or can't believe him or have a hard time believing him. I still don't know. I'm always on the fence with Bob Lazar. I almost think that, because like what he just said here, he didn't have any set duties. I mean, when you hire somebody, I don't know what it's like to be hired in where he supposedly was hired, in top secret military installation in the middle of the desert. I don't know how orientation would go. Apparently he was the only one in his class, that got the job at that time. And it's not like he worked with anybody else. I mean, he never talks about working with anybody else, right? It's always him, just him by himself, which I think is kind of strange. You'd think there would be other people, maybe one other person to bounce ideas off of, but he never talks about anybody else, which I find weird. Am I wrong on that? I always thought that was a little strange. By the way, I want to thank Crystal Sarasale for becoming a member of GUFON. Posted it up there while the video was up, so I didn't want to forget to say thank you, and I appreciate that, Crystal. Thank you. I'm going to find another clip here that I think is very interesting, and I believe it's right around this part. I'm going to go right here and play the last few minutes and give you a little bit more.
Those type details would be incorporated into the model, and so that's why he asked that.
So when John Andrews passed, Darlene called you up, and it sounded exciting, obviously. You received the package, but what's incredible is that these tapes were preserved. What were the exact tapes? Were they cassette tapes?
Cassette tapes, old school cassette tapes.
And then we're doing some audio enhancements because it was a little hissy.
Right.
But we're actually doing a dehiss, so we're actually restoring the audio quality to its best form. But as we're listening to Bob Lazar, he seems that you could tell that he's a little younger and a little, not quite as refined as he is now in his speech. But you could hear that he was really adamant about what he is saying. I didn't hear any kind of deception. Again, he could just be a great actor, but John Andrews seemed like he had some kind of motivation to get to Bob Lazar. Again, we're looking at this and listening to it. What's your thoughts, again, on John Andrews' motivation? Like, who got in his ear saying, you got to go take a look at this Bob Lazar story?
Well, he always had an interest in aviation, and this kind of tied in together, and it was his goal to vet out the details so that he could build an actual plastic model given the details provided by Bob Lazar.
What kind of time did you spend there when you were there? I mean, did you spend like at the most 2 hours? Did you spend a whole day?
Sometimes I spent up to 8 hours, but that was only on a couple occasions. Usually it was only about 4 or 5 hours.
And where did you eat?
Usually I
Did they have a
did.
break room?
No, because I'd eat before I went out there. I usually eat, I don't know, about 3:30 before I went out. And when you got to 51 and waited for the bus, there was a little like snack shop cafeteria thing where you could get something, but there was no place to eat down there.
Did they have drinking fountains at all?
Yeah, they had drinking fountains, but there was no place. I didn't.
No Coke machines or?
No, I never did see
Did the guard go
anybody.
with you to the men's room?
Yes, I never did see, and went inside too. I never did see any place to eat, but then I never asked, so I don't know. Maybe, and like I said, I only saw a little bit of the installation, and where I work, this thing could be big. Of course, it could only be that size too, but I just don't know.
And how many times were you out there? Actually out there?
6.
The guard was with you all that time, constantly. And was this the case with everybody that was there for the most part? Or just a new man? The new kid
Most
on
of the
block?
time, but most of the time with other people, but more with me. Now, it wasn't every single time, because when I worked with Barry, showing me the way things operated, that was the first time we were alone, and I actually got to kind of joke around with somebody. So we did have some alone time there.
But there was never any socializing off that facility or back here in Las Vegas or anything.
No, like I said, that's one of the reasons I think they worked on the buddy system. You have someone to work with and someone to talk to.
It's almost like the nuclear bomb thing in the submarine.
So you have someone to let out stuff to.
Yeah.
He's also part of the project, so you can talk to him, but that's it.
Sounds like he was given good psychological studies.
Now, who was the buddy that you had? Was it
Barry.
Barry?
Yeah.
Was he young?
Older than me, maybe 35, 40.
Did you get to talk a lot about where you come from and where you?
No, we didn't get that. No, we didn't get that far.
With the intensity of the guard, what was he guarding you against?
I have no idea. It was just there.
Are you going to take something or?
I don't know. It was almost seemed like it was just.
You couldn't make a phone call.
It almost seemed like it was just intimidation.
Oh, that could be too.
I don't know if it really did serve any purpose.
Now, did you see it when it was flight tested? You couldn't tell where the door was anymore on it. I mean, it just sort of blend back in when they put the door on completely?
Unless the door was facing the other side. I didn't see it.
Did you ever see the hangar with the door on it?
No.
You saw it, though.
Pretty interesting. I mean, this is stuff that we've heard. I was looking for a clip I thought was right there. I must have gotten it wrong. It might be this last one here. So I'm going to go here. I think it's this one. And then we'll talk again. Huh? Oh, yeah, Barry, right, yeah, I forgot. I don't know how I forgot, but I did. That, yeah, Barry was the other guy that worked with him. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot that. You know, I never really got into too deep because there's been movies, you know, not real good ones, but there were movies about Bob Lazar out there. You know, the Corbell factor came into play, and, you know, he made his little movie a couple of years ago about Bob Lazar, and people debunked the shit out of it. And whether you believe Bob Lazar or not, I think the guy, I have a theory, and it's an interesting one. And I'll tell you what I think about that guy right behind me. This guy. Who does he look like? Does he look like anybody to you? Because I have a theory about why Bob Lazar did, if he did work there for 6 times, you know, 6 days or whatever it was that he went out there. Because that's what he says. I think that he worked there, went out there 6 times before he was fired. I think he was chosen because of who his father might be. Yeah, it's an interesting theory. And let me tell you something. He looks like him. He looks like the person I'm going to tell you who I think helped Bob Lazar get into this position. But this person just passed away recently too, who could be Bob Lazar's father, in my opinion. I'll tell you in a minute. We'll play one last cut for a minute. That's all I got left. Well, it's all I'm allowed.
Evidence. Where is the physical evidence? If there really were 9 saucers, where are they now? Did they move them? Are they still there? Or was it all disinformation? I remain skeptical. I need more evidence, so that's what we're looking for.
Again, let's listen to another audio right now from Bob Lazar, the interview.
It had
looking? Or?
Yeah, it had a cap that fit over it. This is where the 115 sat. And that was a copper color.
The cap was too?
No,
the
cap was, yeah, just the cone inside. Or the 115 inside.
And this tube, I guess, went to the...
No,
these
this
guys,
because
or?
the reactor was removed and this tube just goes to the base.
Oh, okay. What goes on in the tube? Is that...
I think this gets into the reactor portion. The 115 sits in here and it's in a triangular shape, and the point of it sits level with this tube. And I think this is where the reaction's taking place, where they it really looks like a little accelerator where they're accelerating a proton, interacting it with here, and then on the base here. Now all this happens within 2 inches, which is fantastic. On the base here, there's some thermionic generator, and this is where they're converting the heat to electrical power, and where it's producing as a byproduct the gravity wave, which for some reason propagates to the skin of this device. But the
was the 115 a square-based triangular shape, or is it a complete triangular?
Just like that, a piece with ridges in it. Just a slice.
All right. Now, a lot of this stuff we've heard, but it's just there's I think 90 total minutes or an over almost 2 hours worth of this stuff, and there'll be more of it. We'll go over tomorrow when they drop 30 more minutes of Bob Lazar. Tomorrow is going to be a big episode. I don't think they're going to drop it tonight. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow, they told me, because they're really busy right now in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's where this was filmed with Schratt in North Scottsdale. Actually, right where no longer than 5 minutes from where I grew up, pretty much. That's where these guys are. So, it's interesting. Now I'm going to show you a picture of somebody. Whoa, something's happening to the lighting or something here. That's weird. What is going on? Hold on, let me fix this. I don't like having these little glitches in the matrix here. There we go. Let's do that. There we go. A little better. So there's a theory that I came up with, and I have a theory that Bob Lazar is the son of John Lear. And I'll show you. There you see Bob, right? You see him, but I don't have any side-by-sides today. I should have done it, but I didn't. But check this out. Look here. And there he is. He does look like him. Very similar. See? Right? And then let me get Bob. There's a picture in here that really looks like John Lear to me. Same lips. I can't blow it up unless I save it. But there's a younger picture where he does look like John Lear. I don't know, but they do look a lot alike. It's very eerie. Kind of does. And don't you think it's weird? They wear the same glasses. Almost. I don't know, man. He kind of does remind me of John Lear. What if John Lear is the maybe illegitimate father of Bob Lazar? Could that be a possibility? I mean, I know there's people that look a lot alike, but here he is when he's younger, without glasses. Similar. They got that same mouth, though, you know? And wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that make sense? Because John Lear's one of the people that helped get him the job, right? Don't I remember that, Brian Kegler? Isn't that right? It's pretty interesting, though. Here's a picture where it kind of does look like Bob right here. Oh. I don't know what this is, but just checking stuff out as I'm going through this. Here's another one. So we'll know in about 10 more years, 15 years, if Bob Lazar looks more like him. I think he does. Very similar. Very, very similar. You know? I don't know. Food for thought. Could it be? Is it possible? Very similar. Very similar. Look at the nose is even the same. Look at the nose. It's exactly the same. It's got 2 holes. I mean, that nose is so similar. And the mouth is very similar. But anyway, these tapes are amazing. And there's more coming. And, you know, Bob talks about a lot of interesting things here that I didn't play because, you know, I'm allotted 10 minutes. And you can watch the 30-minute episode on Third Phase of Moon. I will post the link in the show's description. What do you think? You think Bob Lazar really worked at S4? That S4 tab came back up on Google Earth, and apparently S4 is underneath S2. And that location where, they have the pin flag and it says the research facility, in the beginning of the video, I was showing it because they had it up here. Let me see if I can pull it back up because the guys had it in this beginning portion of the show. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Hold on, I'm right there. I know it. And if those of you who remember the beginning of the year, UFO Proof Kyle found apparently S4 right by Papoose Lake. And there was a flag that was posted there, like a little a post that says, S4 research facility. And I don't know why I can't find it here. Should be like 2 seconds. I should have found it already, and I can't. All right, I'm getting a little upset, but that's just par for the course. I don't know why it's not here. I know I saw it. But anyway, apparently there's more than, there's S2, S3, S4, and S5, and everything is underneath S2? The research facility that they found the pin in, the location on Google Earth. Not Google Maps. You can see it there on Google Maps, but Google Earth is the real place where this flag was posted and the pin. But underneath there, according to Richard Doty, there is S4 is underneath S2. And I thought this was interesting to look at. This picture here. You got the sports model there, and we had special clearances. I had my badge, and my badge looked different than everybody else's. There were no grays, but we did take the Janet flights out there, and then we took a bus over to 10-minute drive over to Los Alamos, and figures. It's pretty amazing, though. After all these years, there's still more Bob Lazar. I'm sorry. It was a long, hot day. But, here we are. Looking at listening to Bob Lazar once again. Back into the mainstream media. Bob Lazar. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just my opinion, but what do I know? I don't know if Bob Lazar really worked there. I don't know. It seems like he did, and I hear all sorts of mixed stories. Like Stanton Friedman said he couldn't even tell us where the bathroom was. Yet Richard Doty said that Bob Lazar described everything exactly as it is. I guess he was there. I guess Richard Doty's been there before, and he described everything perfectly. So, oh God, Richard Doty, why would we even listen to this guy at this point in our lives? it's just one thing after another. But we're sitting here listening to Bob Lazar talk from 32 years ago, and it's as if it was yesterday. It's weird. We have this love-hate relationship with Bob Lazar like no other person in this field. Because if what he's saying is true, and there's apparently nine saucer-type discs that are being held in S4 where he was 30-something years ago. If that's true, it's an amazing discovery. But I don't think Bob Lazar would be alive if he was talking about this stuff and it was real. So let's say it isn't. No, let's say it is. Why would the government allow him to keep talking? Remember, Bob Lazar said the reason he came forward was because he thought he was going to be taken out, because he brought Lear and the other guys out there to watch test flights of the Smarts model, and they were captured by the camo dudes and taken away and questioned and didn't know if they were going to be alive or dead, but they let them go. And then Bob said everywhere he went, he felt like he was being followed. And he says he was. He went to the gym to work out one day, and he came out to his car, and his car door was open, the trunk was open, right? And didn't he say there was, he had an Uzi in his car, and his wallet and everything was there, and it was placed like on the console or on the front seat, showing Bob that, hey, we could take you out anytime we want. We were in your car while you were in the gym, and you didn't even know it. You mean to tell me somebody actually broke into Bob Lazar's car while he was working out, opened up the doors, took his Uzi out from the back seat or wherever it was, placed it in the front seat, something like that, his wallet and all that stuff, everything was there, nothing was taken, and nobody saw anything? I guess if he parked behind the gym, maybe there were no windows to look outside or other people driving around at that time. But for a guy like Bob Lazar to work at S4, if he did, doesn't seem right to me. You know, why would you want to bring somebody like a Bob Lazar to the facility, a guy who seemed to be living large at the time, you know, making this car that everybody knew. He had this, the loudest car in that part of the world, and everybody knew who he was, and he had owned a brothel or brothels, which is legal. There's nothing illegal about that. But apparently he escaped S4 with all that's going on, all of the cameras around everywhere, right? He had a military guy that was sitting there watching him. He had guards, you know, watching him and whatnot. And he left with a little bit of element 115 in his pocket. How do you get that stuff out? Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting story, one that'll live forever. And we may never know the truth, but I think he is the illegitimate son of John Lear. Or maybe legitimate. Maybe nobody knows. Maybe nobody's supposed to know. They do look a lot alike. I mean, you can see that right here. It kind of looks like him. Yeah. Very strange. Who's here today? It was an illegal brothel? They're legal to own back then, right? Weren't they legal to own a brothel, but he had an illegal one? Is that what it is? Yeah, I know you took the dive into Bob Lazar. more than I did, that's for sure. It's only illegal if you get caught. I thought it was legal. I thought it was legal to have a brothel where he had it. So let's say it was illegal at the time. Like, why would they ask this guy? Maybe because he's expendable? There's so many weird things about Bob Lazar that are really, especially the death of his first wife, I think. Ex-wife or whatever. That is weird. Yeah. A lot of weird things with Bob. But, yeah, there's not much more I could play. Let me see something here real quick. I could replay this part because I think this was interesting.
No, it's the entire slab is, large piece of concrete, and it's I can put a gloss or lacquer coat on it. It's but it's concrete, but they put some kind of coating on it. Yeah, but very very shiny. Also, probably slippery too.
Is there a lot of painted marks on the floor? Like, red lines or places to walk?
No, I saw it. Oh, it was yellow tape. But I don't know. That's the only thing I remember noticing.
Was there any rules about rings, watches? You had to remove things before you went into these areas, or?
Well, you removed those before you went into the installation.
So you give your badge then? Did you exchange a badge that you
No,
carry
well,
all
to,
the time?
no. Well, to get in, you get your badge. To get in.
So you didn't have a badge when you first get there?
No.
And exchange it like for a white one, for a yellow one, for a red one?
No.
You got on the airplane, you went there, you went to
you
the
get on with an
installation,
escort,
and then you got your badge at the installation.
right at S4, not at ground.
Were you given like one of those little green U.S. government ID cards with your picture on it or something like the military has?
Didn't get a film dose badge either, nothing.
How'd you get on board the airplane? Escort all the time?
On board the plane at
The EG&G airplane?
Yeah, Dennis was always waiting there for me.
Okay.
So there were no dose badges. There wasn't any beer evidently or anything.
Not that I saw on anybody.
That's really interesting. It tells you something about the material. I mean, you've dealt with it. God, you dealt with all that crap.
I mean, on Los Alamos,
Mark II.
and places where there was no radioactive material at all. You had a dose badge on anyway.
Yeah, my son-in-law is a nuclear power plants officer aboard the Nimitz. And he says, oh, yeah, badges all the time. They're tested all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody's got them.
Everywhere. But no, none for that area.
She's got to say something about the safety of the material. And there's no
disregard for human life.
One or the other, yeah.
Yeah, perhaps that. No, I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
When you got the job or whatever, were you given any kind of like an outline of what has to happen by a certain date, or was it just go as you have to, or get it done as it goes, or?
It was strange. There was really no, goals set.
Were there any like morning briefings, afternoon briefings, or?
No, I wasn't to that stage yet. I was more of a casual employee. There was no set job for me to perform yet. I had.
What did they ask of you, Bob, when you first were interviewed, or the second interview at EG&G? What were they concerned
It was
about?
strange. They went through with a typical interview. What I had done.
Incidentally, this is just amongst us. This is not going to go anywhere.
What I had done in previous jobs, what jobs with my field of expertise was specifically what I did in Los Alamos and things along that sort. But the second interview, which I think really weighed heavily, they really wanted to know what I did in my spare time. It was almost like my personal life, and
Yeah, that's our government vetting the craziest person you could imagine to come work on a secret craft at a secret base. if that's our government vetting people and they come up with a Bob Lazar, I would have never chosen Bob Lazar to be a guy to work on UFOs. I would never trust this guy. He's a recluse. He does what he wants, right? This guy didn't give a shit about anything. He was just living the dream, inventing a car inventing a car. I'm done. I can't even speak anymore. Well, there'll be more inventing a car. What the fuck am I talking about? I had too much sun today. Too much sun. You're right, Lynn. You're right. 100% right. Anyway, he didn't invent shit. That's what he invented, a story that he worked at S4. Well, I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. There are some people out there who thought that Bob was making it up. But when we play more of this tomorrow or the next day, whenever it comes out tomorrow, I believe there's going to be some stuff you never heard of. But I don't see how this guy would be chosen unless he's John Lear's son. And he got in there somehow. It just doesn't make sense to me that they would choose this guy. But here he is, 35 years, 30 years later, and he's still the most, talked about guy in the history of this field. And there's little to no proof. And there's a lot that goes against him. But there's people out there who downright don't believe Bob Lazar. Listen to these tapes and now they're not so sure. They think they might be wrong about Bob Lazar, that he did work there. And I know there's a lot of evidence that goes against it, but when you hear people say, oh my God, I don't know anymore. I don't know. I almost think that he did work there. And all these years they've been saying, no, he never worked there. There's no way. He should know more than what he's telling us and all this. And then, the little hand thing, and that thing was already out, the identifier. That thing was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. His badge that he had was different than everybody's. Apparently that worked there, right? Isn't that it? Yeah, his badge didn't look like everybody else's. I don't know. Something about the badge was wrong. There's just so many things about this guy's story. And that's all it is. It's a story. But why would he come out of nowhere to do this? Why? What is the reason? Well, his reason is he thought he was going to be killed. Taken out. I don't know. I'm wondering if he made it up to get other people off of his ass. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he was in with the mob. When you get into illegal brothels, who knows how he got those deals done? If that's true, I guess it is. But anyway, Bob Lazar tapes are out. They're going to be leaked more this week. The reason they're being spread out is because there's a lot of stuff to go over. So I guess what they're doing is giving you tonight, or yesterday they did it. Tomorrow they're going to bring out the big chunk, a 30-minute piece of Bob Lazar talking 32 years ago, and see if the story still matches up. Apparently he says some things, and I haven't heard it yet. I'm hearing this, just like you are, but apparently we're going to hear some things that we've never heard before, which is always interesting. We can use it to see if it matches up with everything else that's been going on with Bob Lazar. We might as well just say it. Bob Lear. And if you look at Bob's name, couldn't it just be some sort of made-up name? Robert Lazar? You know what I mean? Like Bob Lazar. And the name looks like laser, you know? And Bob, forward and backward, is the same, you know? Bob like mom and wow. I don't know. I think there's somebody needs to do something with his name and see if they can figure out if there's any lies, any mythology in his name. Does it mean anything in numerology? Did anybody ever do that? Take the name Bob Lazar or maybe Robert Lazar and throw it into a number machine like you guys do out there who are in numerology and see where it aligns. I would like to see how that works out. It's not my thing, so if you guys can do that, that'd be great. But anyway, that's the Bob Lazar tapes right there, the beginning. We'll be going over it all week. And that's it. Where was Robert Lazar born? I don't know. Josh and Artemis are here. Lynn's here. Good to see a lot of people. Antonio's here. Red Storm 1's here. Jeanette, how you doing? David Hurley's here. David Hurley and Lynn. Nice to have you guys here. Appreciate it. Into Thin Air. Snuck out of the house. Got here. FAP Alien Girl. Josh and Artemis again. Logan Black. Bob is a nickname. Yeah, I know. But everybody knows him as Bob. That's why I said Robert Lazar too. But it's interesting. Not a lot of people call him Robert. A lot of people call him Bob. Bobby. Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago, is here. Randall Hill is here. Welcome, everybody. You know, the weird thing about this is just when you think it's all over, bam, we come out with this. And Michael Schratt's the one who's been holding on to these for all these years. And we appreciate what he's done as well. Pretty interesting. Hold on, I'm going to pull something up. I want to see something real quick. I want to see if... yeah, that... we might as well play a little bit of Blue Room Media, John Lear tribute interview.
When I started it, I was reading the altimeter.
This is from Michael Schratt.
And
the father of Bob Lazar
misjudged my the actual altitude I was at, and so I went into this spin. I did 1 turn, 2 turns, and as I came around on the 3rd turn, I looked over and God damn, I'm low, because I was looking over at this barn, and about that time I just crunch hit and was knocked out instantaneously. And then didn't remember anything except years later I remembered waking up in the ambulance going to Geneva. Now, the boarding school I was at was about 45 minutes to an hour of in a ambulance. And so it was bumpy and jerky, and I was hurting terror really bad. And when I woke up, or when I came conscious, I remember looking down at my body and thinking, I'm never going to make it. I'm just hurt too bad. I'm never going to make it to the hospital. So then I blacked out, and then I don't remember anything until waking up in the hospital about 36 hours later. But that was what happened on that accident. And then, of course, throughout my career, it hasn't hindered me at all. Of course, I had the noticeable limp, but see, after the noticeable limp. I felt it didn't bother me during my career, and then I retired in 2001 and started working on my gold mine which didn't work out, and doing a lot of heavy lifting and stuff, and injured my back somehow. And since 2008, I've been in and out of the hospital, like just a royal pain in the butt. Everything, is wrong. So, but anyway, that's the story of the spin in and crash.
Okay.
But I do know that my father was the major subcontractor for anti-grav programs in 1952 for the Pentagon. Now you've seen...
Doesn't this make sense? Doesn't it? Doesn't it not make sense that this guy helped Bob Lazar get into S4 if he did? I mean, his father worked at, what didn't he just say, worked at the Pentagon?
Father was the major subcontractor for anti-grav programs in 1952 for the Pentagon.
Oh, his father was the subcontractor for the anti-grav for the Pentagon. Makes sense to me. Maybe John Lear had a child out of wedlock and he knew about it the whole time but didn't stay with this woman. Maybe it was he already was married, who knows, or had a girlfriend and didn't want her to know, so this woman left him even though they had the kid. She had the kid. He could have helped her assist all along the way and molded Bob Lazar to be who he is today. Now, I don't know if that's even possible, but in the world of ufology, I wouldn't put it past it. I wouldn't put it past it if Bob Lazar was groomed. Look at him. He looks just like him. That guy looks like Bob Lazar without glasses. I'm telling you, he does.
Now you've seen that. That
maybe I'm the crazy one.
piece of paper that shows
That
all
goes
the
without saying.
contractors, right?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Says Lear Incorporated.
Okay.
Anyway, I believe my dad got kicked out because he talked too much to the press. And in this incident, 1953, he went to Bogota, Colombia, and started telling the press about UFOs. Well, my dad, I think, was part of the cover-up, and he should have been sworn to secrecy, because guys like this were always around our house in Santa Monica. We lived at 222 14th Street, and Jimmy Doolittle lived on 3rd Street. Guys like Vandenberg.
No, Logan Black, I think you're wrong. Hold on, let me pull it up. John Lear was what, 75 when he died? John Lear. Let's see. He died at 79. All right, let's see how old Bob Lazar is. Bob Lazar is 63. Okay, so he could have had this kid when he was 16 years old. You know what I mean? Why not? Hey, man. That is possible. 16-year difference. It makes sense. It's possible. So if there was an 18-year gap, it would be a lot better for us to believe. It could be 16. He could have been too young. Maybe John Lear's father said, you're not keeping the kid or whatever. And the girl said, I'm keeping the kid. Well, you two aren't getting together. You're not getting married. She goes off. He goes another way. They split their ways. He finds out, always stays in touch with Bob Lazar's mother. the woman that had Bob Lazar, that John Lear had sex with. It's very possible. And you know, when I get a high pitch, I mean it. This is an interesting interview right here. I mean, we're talking UFOs right here in the beginning.
Who was MJ-12, he had a crush on my mom. So he was always in and out of the house there. There was other connections. Twining ordered my dad, investigated when my dad went to Moscow in a 310 from Berlin, just to see if what the Russians were going to do. But anyway, he was so involved in that that I think that UFOs owned and operated by the U.S., but not necessarily with the type of power that we have up at S4 that we captured there. There's no way we could duplicate that. We just don't know how. I mean, it's just what they're doing is containing the explosion made by antimatter and matter combined in a little container about this big. Mm-hmm. And that's how they get the electrical power, because when they shoot protons into the end of the 115, what bumps it up to 116, which since is totally unstable, it bumps itself down back to 115, and then what it throws off is antimatter and the access to the gravity wave that you can get from the release of this from 116 to 115. Okay. So let's see, we got that 115.
You mentioned Jimmy Doolittle, John. Can you talk about what Jimmy Doolittle told your mother about MJ-12?
Jimmy Doolittle? You serious? I can't believe we're talking about JD.
All she said was, all I asked her was to get him, just say MJ-12 and see what he says. So she said, Jimmy, John's gotten involved in some things that, I don't know whether you should or not, but do you know whether MJ-12 is true or not? And he said, yes, Moy, it is, but I can't say anything about it. That's all it was said.
So you can take that to the bank then, John? Yeah. We can take that to...
That's what...
Well, I could have told you that. I could have told you that. Jesus, I could have told you guys that. Amazing. Amazing world we're living in, We're still looking for the smoking gun. We're never going to find it. We're never going to find the smoking gun. When would we? It never happens. And, coming up in the next month, apparently UAP disclosure that Andy guy is bringing out these videos to the Utah UFO Symposium in May 27th, 28th, 29th. Apparently that's going to be the next thing. Lou's book is coming out in about a week or two. So we're going to be talking about that. I know, right, Antonio? Never. It's never going to happen. We keep looking for it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look for chinks in the armor of Bob Lazar. Yet here are these tapes. Not that Bob Lazar has ever changed his story or anything, but I think it's more or less the people that are surrounded around Bob Lazar. I think they had something to do with it. I definitely do think John Lear had something to do with Bob Lazar getting that job. Pretty sure of it. Somehow, some way. there's connections there. I don't know, man. But Michael Schratt at Blue Room Media is where I was just playing that John Lear interview. Anyway, that was from part 2. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Hold on a sec. Let me check something out here real quick. I want to look at this. Yeah, everything's working. Hold on. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Dorothy Hawkins with a $2 PayPal. And that's the first one tonight. Thank you, Dorothy. Let me see if there's a message with this. No message. Just pure adulterated donation. Keeping the stream alive. That's what we do. We do this every night, right? Sink or swim, no matter what. Let me see if there's anything going. Now, I haven't had a chance. I didn't think I was going to look today on this. Let me see what's going on. Anybody talking about this on Twitter? What is this? You see, nobody's talking about it. I don't see anybody's talking about this. A quote from Jeremy Corbell was Colonel Corso telling us how it is. Oh my God. I can't stand Corbell. He should be taken out of the field. Nobody should give this guy any time. Like I am. Like I'm doing. Here's what he says. To the best of my knowledge at this moment, all evidence suggests beyond a reasonable doubt that we have some of the UFO machinery in our possession, that we have for a long time, and that some of it's being warehoused and exploited within private aerospace facilities with some degree of special access protection, government military oversight. We are not, and it appears we never have been, in the driver's seat when it comes to the terms. This can't be a quote from Jeremy Corbell. There is no incentive or advantage for those involved in the yet-to-be-acknowledged UFO programs to share discoveries or findings with the American public, as has been said to me by people in position to know. You can't share secrets with your friends without telling your enemies. This is why citizen journalism is the path forward, the straightest line connecting questions with answers. I don't get that. That's not Jeremy Corbell speaking that language right there. Why would somebody put that down here? Did he really? Yeah, somebody said you're being lied to. Eisenhower met with aliens at Holloman Air Force Base in 1954. Did you know this? Did you see this? Daughter reads letter from her dad, an electrician at Holloman Air Force Base in 54, who witnessed one of the saucers that landed. Check this out. I just saw this now. So apparently, here we go. Here's some more wood for the fire. Eisenhower met with aliens at Holloman Air Force Base in 54. Daughter reads letter from her dad, who was an electrician at Holloman Air Force Base in 54, who witnessed one of the saucers that landed.
In 1954, Dad got a job at Holloman. He was also an electrician. Sometime after Christmas of 55, we were told President Eisenhower was coming. So we heard the president's plane in the morning, lining up for an approach, and watched it land on the far runway. So we waited for it to taxi over to the flight line so we could see him. But we didn't hear it anymore, and it had shut down somewhere out there. So why don't one of us go up the pole and see where the plane is? So I started up with my back to the sun, a safety measure, which also put my back to the runway where we thought his Connie was.
That's funny.
As I started up, some of the guys reminded me not to gawk, and I heard them laugh. A few minutes later, I heard some shouting, and Some guys tarring a hangar roof nearby started to run, pointing out to the runways. Then I heard our truck start up and some of the crew jumped in with one or two running after it. And they were pointing out to the flight line. And so I decided to turn around on the pole to see what the ruckus was about. And I could not believe what I saw. There was this pie tin-like thing coming at me about 150 feet away.
Wait.
I thought it was remote controlled or something. 25 to 30 feet across, and I started down the pole as fast as I could go. I was up about 40 feet, and I threw my climbing rope out, gave it slack, and only touched the spike on each side of the pole 3 or 4 times on each side in before I got to the bottom. While I was running towards the big hangar, I looked back, and it had stopped and was just sitting there. Well, when we all got back to the shop and we had a good laugh, one of the guys who saw me come down said he got down that pole faster than a fireman. So as you kids were growing up and we had the family gatherings, you used to ask to tell me about the time I became a fireman. You know, I always wondered why we did not use that thing during Vietnam and so forth. And over the years I realized if we had technology like that, it would have saved lots of lives. But I gradually realized that it had something to do with Ike being there that day. And it wasn't out.
What is she wearing on her head? That is the question. I can't stop looking at it, the possum. That is the oddest wig. That's a wig, right? That's got to be a wig. I believe that might be a dude. I don't know. Who was the president that dressed up? Lyndon Johnson, right? Didn't he dress up as a woman? But that is some wicked hairdo right there, man. Wickedness. That is just awful. Unbelievable. Okay, here's something I just came across. Jeremy Corbyn. Why do I keep coming up with this guy? I can't stand him. Does the government have UFOs? If so, what are they doing with them? And why the secrecy? And what is the path forward for the public to learn more? Read here for the answers. Oh boy. I'm telling you, I'm not going to click on it on the show. I want to see what it is so I don't get... it's nothing. It's nothing. I clicked on it, and it's just advertisement for Jeremy Corbell. I'm telling you, this guy... What? Oh my God, that is unbelievable. Ryan Graves, imagine if Oumuamua hit Earth. This one did in 2014. Confirmed to be an interstellar visitor in 2019. The paper was withheld for 3 years due to classified data. What other science is hidden in our expanding, overclassified space infrastructure? An interstellar object exploded over Earth in 2014? I thought I came across this earlier, like yesterday, I think, right? A fireball that blazed through the skies over Papua New Guinea in 2014 was actually a fast-moving object from another star system, according to a recent memo released by the U.S. Space Command. Come on! The object, a small meteorite measuring just, 1.5 feet across, slammed into Earth's atmosphere January 8, 2014, after traveling through space at more than 130,000 miles an hour. A speed that far exceeds average velocity of meteors that orbit within the solar system, according to a 2019 study of the object published in the preprint database ARXIV. Is this it?
And each
Is this it? Let's play it.
piece of space rock that gets reeled in by a planet or moon is called a meteoroid.
What happened?
The bright streak that observers see in the sky is known as a meteor, and whatever makes it to the ground to be found is the meteorite. Meteorites come in different flavors, and each one speaks volumes about its place of birth.
Most meteorites are fragments of asteroids from the asteroid belt that is in orbit between Mars and Jupiter.
Space rocks don't need to be very big to put on a spectacular show. Several times a year, Earth's orbit takes us through the remnants of the tails of a few notable comets. Showers of meteors can result, and the count can go as high as several hundred per hour. These tiny grains of dust predate the formation of the sun, yet they flame out in seconds in the air over Earth. A few are slowed enough to make it down before burning up.
Little bits of comet come into the Earth's atmosphere every single day. And in fact, tons of cometary dust enter the Earth's atmosphere over the course of every year. And they drift down and become a part of our atmosphere, eventually finding their way to the surface of the Earth.
You probably won't find those, but some people make a hobby, even a business, of collecting larger meteorites.
It's this desire to have their hands on something incredibly ancient, something that could be older than Earth itself. Meteorites in some cases contain particles that were formed before the solar system formed, and there's an incredible fascination with that deep time, that deep history of the atoms and molecules that make up our planet and make up our own bodies.
I just can't play that anymore. It's annoying. I'm trying to do a couple of things like behind the scenes and thank people, and every time I press on a button it stopped the video. That's why you saw that. I did want to thank who just sent me something. Randall Hill sent a $3 Cash App. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Mucho gusto generoso. A continuing supporter of GUFON. I have, what else do we got here? Chris Badal's Consciousness Repository. No. Gary Nolan. No. Sleep paralysis. No. But anyway, Neptune just experienced an unexplained temperature shift. Who gives a shh? Oh, what is this? Hold on. Wow, this is weird. Here's some stabilized video of a metapod? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Seriously? I gotta show you this. This is getting to be a little bit comical now, this planet, this world. This is apparently a metapod, whatever the frig that is. It's a metapod. It's a controlled alien ship or device. Not a balloon that's deflated or anything, no. Because that's exactly what that is. That's a balloon that is deflated and is falling to Earth very slowly because, you know, there's just enough helium in it. I mean, am I the only one who sees that as a balloon? Or is that a metapod? A metapod. I can't believe we're talking... I can't believe the word metapod came out of my mouth. COVID. That's a balloon. That is a filthy, dirty, old balloon that's dented. That isn't full anymore. You can even see that's the where you blow it up down there. I'm sure of it. I like the shadow effect. That looks good. Yeah. If that thing takes off now at a speed that can't be wind, I've seen balloons do this 1,000,000 times. All right, 500,000 times over life. This is ridiculous. It's going to land on the ground. Of course, that's when the video ends. As soon as it starts to bend in half, the video ends. Yeah, there's your Metapod. Yeah, it's so stupid. When and where was this taken? I believe it's Mexico or something. It could be mistaken, though. There are no such things. That is a balloon that has run out of helium. That's it. Seen him 1,000,000 times. It did nothing. It didn't take off. It didn't do anything. Yeah, it can come to an almost standstill because that's just the perfect amount of breeze and helium mixed with the balloon. Give me a break. I can't. I just can't. I can't. We need to do something. we need to catalog all these things. I think that's my project now. Dead balloons. Dead balloons. Dead balloons. All right. Well, I think that about wraps up tonight's show. There's nothing else I could talk about. I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I can't believe I went over an hour. I didn't think I had it in me, but appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. Thank you for the support, moderators and super chatters. Thank you very much. And keeping the show moving smoothly. Thank you very much. If you want to continue supporting the show, through PayPal and Cash App, or become a member to GUFON, as did Crystal Sarasali did tonight. Thank you. You are now number 32. Thank you very much. The veterans and the newcomers, I appreciate you hanging out as well, giving the show a chance. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And we will continue this week with the Bob Lazar tapes and other UFO and paranormal news coming your way right here on GUFON. Remember, we are Truthology for ufology. Good night, everybody.
There's a good thing. It's rotating.
What was in the skies over Houston? And why did it downwards treasured sites